Hello and welcome to this edition of Shaw TV. We're starting today's program with the tragic story of the WWE champion Chris Benoit and the tragedy surrounding the double murder-suicide. We thought we'd check in with our local wrestling company here, Power Zone Wrestling, and majority owner Tim Strom. So when you heard the news, what was your initial reaction?
I was really heartbroken. I think Chris Benoit was one of the guys that a lot of us in the industry looked up to, because he kind of signified, the diehard fan, the guy that really lived the dream, the guy that had the limited size, the guy that had the limited knowledge of the business, and he just worked so hard to get to the top, and he never quit. And I think a lot of us, I think I can speak for a lot of guys in the industry, and say we were really heartbroken that life, for lack of a better term, got the best of him, because he was kind of the one that we all looked up at and went, if he could do it, we could do it. And it was, you hear about the raging drug abuser, you hear about the raging alcoholic whose career falls apart because of his addictions and his problems, and you go, okay, that's the guy that will probably check out early. I don't think any of us thought it would be Chris Benoit.
What do you think about all of the stories we've been hearing in the media about him and the circumstances?
The hardest part for me is the fact that you have a lot of people that have absolutely zero understanding of what it takes to be great at this business, subtly judging somebody. Obviously judging him for the crimes that he did. He deserves to be judged for that. You can't take somebody's life and, regardless of whether I'm a diehard fan of the guy's work or not, he can't do the things he's done, and I'm going to stand here and defend him. The part that really disgusted and bothered me is all of a sudden you've got, people on CNN, and all these individuals who have never stepped foot in a wrestling ring, probably never even attended a live event before, and they're now speculating on whether our business and some of the things that people do to be great at our business led to him having a mental breakdown and killing his family. Whoa. Let's judge this man on the fact that, yes, he had a mental breakdown and killed his family. Can we please leave the wrestling business out of it?
Well, what do you think the effect is going to be on the business now?
Truthfully, I thought there would be a really heavy backlash. I can only speak for Power Zone Wrestling. We had our biggest show ever last night, and I thought we would lose a very large portion of our audience. I thought a lot of people would be uncomfortable enjoying, for lack of a better term, a comic book violent theatrical presentation. I thought a lot of people, all things considered with what has happened with Benoit, would be concerned about coming down and enjoying it. In fact, the opposite. We had our largest crowd ever. We had a great, emotional, boisterous crowd. So maybe there won't actually be an effect on the industry. I think there's going to be effect on WWE from an administrative standpoint, where whether they want to do it or not, they are going to have to start investing in some of the counseling aspects of things. You can't necessarily put athletes and performers on the road for 250 days a year, have all the things that are expected of them with battling through injuries, with battling through mental and physical fatigue, and expect them to all come out the other side, in great shape. Obviously, these individuals are going to have breakdowns as they attempt to develop a family, as they attempt to develop other business interests. Whatever it is that they progress and move forward with, WWE is going to have to step in and start involving themselves a little bit within individuals' lives so that things like this can hopefully not happen as an individual begins to reach a breaking point.
And what do you say to all the talk about steroid use and roid rage having an influence in this matter?
For argument's sake, let's run with the fact that his legal prescription drug use contributed to the fact that he killed his family. Let's run with that, okay? For every situation where something like that could have happened, there are people that have been open and public of their prescription drug use that are just fine. There are, for lack of a better term, for every Chris Benoit, there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's a Frank Zane, there is a Hulk Hogan, there is a Ric Flair. Those are four individuals that are phenomenally successful businessmen beyond their given form of entertainment, whether it be bodybuilding or professional wrestling, and they are just fine. Prescription drug use, whether it's legally obtained or illegally obtained, does not kill people. People that are mental in the head kill people.
All right, so if there's one thing you think that people misunderstand about the business of wrestling, what would it be?
The business of wrestling is a phenomenally unique industry. It is absolutely mentally and physically grinding. I have seen it break down many individuals at the top level, those who've made it to the WWE, those that are at a lower level like Power Zone Wrestling. My experience of training in the famous Heart Dungeon. I've watched more people get broken by wrestling than succeed at wrestling. Does that mean professional wrestling is a contributing factor to somebody making horrible social decisions? Absolutely not. It is a beautiful business. It is an amazing business. Those of us that have been in the business for a handful of years understand just how much respect this business entails, just how much honor this business entails. There are people that I've had nothing to do with on a social level, and I would trust those individuals with my life because they are so talented and so good at what they do. The wrestling business is one of the most amazing things that I have ever been a part of. It does not contribute to an individual losing his mind and making a horrible decision and hurting people. In fact, the discipline that it takes to master this skill and this art form, and the fact that you never will truly master this skill and art form, the fact that you never truly will know how to do all of it, is a contributing factor to a lot of stability for most of the individuals that I deal with, as opposed to an instrument of falling apart, for lack of a better term.
All right. Well, thanks very much for giving us your opinion today.
Thank you.
And Shaw TV will be back right after this.